Alright, so today we're on Unit 2, Lesson 3. We're going to be talking about biconditionals and definitions. So basically we're going to learn how to take two statements and put them together. So a biconditional is a single true statement that combines a true conditional and its true converse. A definition is valid if it can be written as a biconditional. So, for example, the following statement: if the sum of the measures of two angles are 180 degrees, then the two angles are supplementary. That is true. Okay, we know that. If two angles equal 180, they are supplementary. So the converse of that is, if two angles are supplementary, then their sum is 180. Is that true? Yeah. So, here's how you write the biconditional. The sum of two angles is 180 degrees if and only if the two angles are supplementary. What was the key change? I took out the words if and then, because I'd written those twice, and I replaced them with if and only if. So, if you're going to write something as a biconditional, this has to be true, the flip has to be true, then you can write the if and only if statement. In symbols, we knew that the conditional is P to Q. And we know that the flip is Q to P. So how do I write a biconditional? Well, I still use the letters P to Q, but if you notice, both of these are true. And so in a biconditional, the arrow goes both ways. Now, you can imagine that if you know how to put a biconditional together, you also have to know how to tear it apart. And so if we have a biconditional here, which we do, a ray is an angle bisector, if and only if it divides an angle into two congruent angles. One of these days I'm going to fix this before I print it. We have to know how to tear this apart. We need to tear it apart into its conditional and its converse. So we have if and only if, but what two words do our sentences have to have? If and then. So the conditional is if a ray is an angle bisector, then it divides an angle into two congruent angles. So I wrote the if and the then. That's the first part. The second part is now I have to flip it. If a ray divides an angle into two congruent angles, then it is an angle bisector. Okay, So, like I said, we just have to be able to tear it apart. Your entry pass for tomorrow is I want you to do one of each of these examples. Okay? So, the first one that I want you to do is I want you to write this statement as a converse and a biconditional. If I study, I will pass the test. So I want you to write the converse and the biconditional. The second thing that I want you to do is turn this statement into its conditional and its converse. You're going to have to give me a second and think of one. I can drive my car if and only if I have insurance. So you're going to take that statement and turn it into a conditional and its converse. And so when we enter class tomorrow, these will be the two things that we're going to talk about. It's how to flip this one and write the biconditional, and then how to break this one apart. But hopefully you can look at these two examples, this for number 1, this for number 2, and know how to do it. And if you then notice when I give us our classwork tomorrow, they fall right in line with what I've asked you to do. I've asked you to know how to write a biconditional and how to take it apart. Any questions, come see me, and we'll see you tomorrow.